Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to talk about how apparently, according to Screen Rant, Season 6 of Cobra Kai will end the Karate Kid better than the movies ever did. So, let's give this a read, because this kind of did create some interest in me. So Cobra Kai Season 6 will be the Karate Kid's ending that never happened in the movies. After revisiting pretty much every friend and foe from Daniel LaRusso's past, Cobra Kai is ending with Season 6. The final Cobra Kai season is expected to cover a global karate tournament, promising a high-stakes conclusion for the show and the Karate Kid saga as a whole. Cobra Kai works as a direct sequel to the Daniel LaRusso Karate Kid movies, although the events of the next Karate Kid are also part of the show's canon. Not only has Cobra Kai revisited most of the Karate Kid characters by this point, but the show is also close to wrapping up the story of its original characters. This is why Cobra Kai Season 6 be the last makes a lot of sense. And I do hope, and some of you might be annoyed with me saying this, I want to see Hilary Swank come back as Julie Pierce. I know she, by then probably would have had her child, but even if it's for this small 5-minute cameo, I want that. I trust the people who are behind Cobra Kai enough where if they bring in Julie Pierce that as a cameo, that they'll find a way to snake Julie Pierce into the story that will make sense. So I got faith in the creators. And maybe Daniel's going with the realization of Kreese, maybe is still alive and out of jail. Maybe Daniel is on the verge of losing his shit again, and maybe Julie Pierce comes in and channel her inner Miyagi, because she's the only one that we've seen outside of Daniel that got trained by Miyagi. So channel her inner Miyagi, right, and give Daniel some words of wisdom and encouragement that he needs, that would be something that Mr. Miyagi would say. That could be a good way. And maybe Daniel and Julie met each other already. And maybe Daniel says, okay, I need to, he realizes he's got to go on the top, so he says, I need to call someone. And maybe that someone is Julie Pierce, right? And like I said, maybe she started a family. She could either incorporate her real life husband and her real life kid, or maybe have her have a TV family, TV husband. Maybe that guy that she was the character was interested in the next Karate Kid be her husband, right? And they have a kid or a son or a daughter, right? And so we could see okay, she had a happy ending, and like I said, maybe Daniel will come to her to practically stamp his head back on straight, screw his head back on straight, and Julie channeling her inner Miyagi to tell Daniel what he needs to hear in terms of encouragement and advice. There you go. You're welcome. I know you guys are on a strike, but you're welcome. Gave you guys a somewhat loosey idea how you guys can pull in Julie Pierce and not have her fight either. Because, again, I know she's pregnant, and I don't know how the woman's body is after, right shortly after giving birth. Immediately. And yeah, anyways, I'm gonna continue past this potentially awkward part of the video. So, Karate Kid movie series never had a proper ending. The Karate Kid movie saga never really had a proper conclusion. In fact, none of the original Karate Kid movies had a properly wrapped up ending. The original Karate Kid films ends as soon as Daniel LaRusso wins the All Valley, leaving no screen time for audience to absorb Daniel's victory. Interestingly, the Karate Kid 2 starts exactly where the Karate Kid left off, adding to the idea of the original film's ending was incomplete. A similar thing happened with the Karate Kid Part 2 and the Karate Kid Part 3, the latter of which begins where the former should have ended. The Karate Kid Part 3's ending, which was the end of Daniel LaRusso's story until Cobra Kai, was not a fitting conclusion of the saga. Firstly, neither Ali Mills nor Johnny Lawrence, key parts of Daniel's original story, Karate Kid story, were involved. Likewise, Karate Kid 3 ends with Daniel winning yet another tournament and celebrating with Mr. Miyagi, offering no context on what happened to any of the villains or where Daniel's life went next. Another Karate Kid saga finale was the next Karate Kid, which featured Mr. Miyagi but not Daniel. The next Karate Kid was a standalone spin-off, and therefore it cannot be considered as a fitting ending either. So, I always looked at the next Karate Kid as a loose sequel to the Karate Kid trilogy. Now I know that gets some hate and it's debatably the weakest of the four, but I actually quite enjoy the next Karate Kid. If you guys dislike it, I'm not gonna just dogging you for it, but I enjoyed all four Karate Kid films. The only Karate Kid film that was made that I disliked is the Jaden Smith one. Because, as I said in my review of it, which I will also link in this description, I feel that they try to put, some key points of the four original Karate Kid films into one, and they shouldn't have done that. And I feel like that is part of the reason why the Jaden Smith, Jackie Chan's Karate Kid didn't work as well as the Daniel LaRusso Karate Kid. Or even the Hilary Swank Karate Kid. Because like I said, I enjoyed Hilary Swank's Karate Kid too, as well. Anyways, Karate Kid Season 6 is perfectly set up for a better ending. Cobra Kai was the Karate Kid sequel that none of the movies could be, mostly because it brought Johnny Lawrence back into the saga. As such, even without considering the other movies, Cobra Kai set itself to be the proper Karate Kid ending that never happened. That said, Cobra Kai embraced the Karate Kid sequels, with the exception of the next Karate Kid, I feel like. Anyways, even though they were less successful than the original movie. 5 seasons later, Cobra Kai Season 6 is set to be the perfect ending for Daniel LaRusso's entire story, including Part 1 and 2. For example, Chosen and Terry Silver are as important to Johnny or Chris in the show. And that's true. In addition, whereas every Karate Kid movie was designed so that a sequel could take place, Cobra Kai is ending with Season 6 per the decision of the creators. And I'm happy about that too, because I was saying a little bit before Cobra Kai Season 6 was announced to be the final season, I was saying as much as I love the Cobra Kai show, which I do, I love it, it's one of the best shows out there. Cobra Kai, I don't want Cobra Kai to fall in the same trap as the Arrowverse or the Fast and Furious movies, or Fast and Furious movies with my Prime Guard make might be a little bit shaky, but the MCU, the Star Wars, where they have their magic, right? and they keep on existing even at like there are so many at this point, right, where the magic has faded away, and besides like being good, it becomes an irritation. And I don't want Cobra Kai to follow in that trap. I don't. So I feel like Cobra Kai Season 6 would have made a pretty good exit point or entry point to conclude the show. And I'm happy that they are saying Cobra Kai Season 6 is the last season for Cobra Kai. Because I don't want Cobra Kai to last so long to the point where they lose their magic. If they're going to end things, I want their magic to be there, strong. So they can conclude the series on a very strong and positive note. Sure, if you want to like open a door where like, okay, there could be a if we ever pick these stories up again in the future, there could be a continuation, but at the same time, kind of be like Toy Story 3, where like there could be like a continuation, right? But if they stop, it's fine too. Now in Toy Story's case, I do believe like Toy Story 3 should have been the last Toy Story movie. And now, like, Toy Story 4 and what will be of Toy Story 5 should have been Disney Plus shows. To follow the new girl who has a toy, the new kid who has a toy's journey. You know? So, but, like I said, I'm happy that we're getting Season 6 as the final ending. Or final season, if that makes sense. Most important, Cobra Kai Season 6 will feature a global karate tournament, the Sekai Tekai, which is just the perfect way to conclude the Karate Kid saga. Rivalries and characters arcs aside, both Karate Kid and Cobra Kai are always come down to a tournament. There cannot be a bigger challenge than a global karate competition, which is why Cobra Kai Season 6 is perfectly set for a... And my screen went black, so in case there's audio issues, I'll go back. So rivalries and characters arcs aside, both the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai always come down to a tournament. There cannot be a bigger challenge than a global karate competition, which is why Cobra Kai Season 6 is perfectly set for a better ending than the movies. Karate Kid's new spin-off risks ruining Cobra Kai's ending. They're still planning to go with Cobra Kai's new... Okay. Unless Cobra Kai Season 6 is extremely disappointing compared to the previous seasons, it's safe to say the show will be a solid Karate Kid ending that never happened. However, this sense of conclusion risks being ruined by the announced and rumored Karate Kid spin-offs. A Karate Kid movie with which the Cobra Kai creative team is not involved is currently in development. Although no details on the story or cast have been revealed, bringing the Karate Kid saga back to theaters right after Cobra Kai ends is risky. Even more so if the Karate Kid reboot or remake. If it's a Karate Kid reboot or remake. So the Cobra Kai showrunners have also expressed that there was to expand the Miyagi-verse, which includes the first 4 Karate Kid movies and Cobra Kai. As such, having Cobra Kai spin-offs after the show ends is a possibility that cannot be ruled out. As interesting as it would be to see a new Karate Kid story, Cobra Kai should have the chance to establish its own legacy. It remains to be seen how definitive Cobra Kai series finale will be, and where the Karate Kid franchise goes next. Now, I agree that any other spin-offs could hurt it a little bit, but I think this, like, the Cobra Kai series will breathe life, because I think the Karate Kid series, 30-ish years old, 30, 40 years old. So thinking 30, 40 years later. So that would be like, right now it's 2023, 2024, or so. But like 2040, 2050, even 2060, 3 or 4, whatever the last season comes out, I think Cobra Kai will still have legs. I think Karate Kid, and partially because of Cobra Kai, especially the first 3 Karate Kid films, will still have legs. The 4th one, maybe. I'm not sure. It's like, I think, like I said, Julie Pierce will be in Cobra Kai season 6, but especially like the first 3 Karate Kid films and the 6 Cobra Kai seasons will still have his legs strong in like 20, 40, 50, 60. And guess what? I don't think Cobra Kai, or the Miyagi first, as they want to call it, would need any more spin-offs to be so successful. I mean, I'm into like Star Wars, right? I'm going to exclude the animated stuff for now, for argument's sake. The last Star Wars movie that came out that was under George Lucas' rule was in 2005. Sure, you can say like part of Star Wars like longevity was comic shows, video games, sure. But pretending that we didn't have that was like, even though that I announced that was helped a bit with Star Wars Long Lasting Love. Star Wars could have easily just been like lasted with the 6 Star Wars films, the prequels and the original trilogy. It could have been. On for like what, after Reach Friends with the Sith, now bringing in the anime stuff, it lasted at least 3 years before getting a new movie. I'm referring to the Clone Wars. And if we keep with the live action stuff, it lasted 10 years. 10 years! Before we even got the sequel trilogy, which like has very mixed reviews. And I think even if Star Wars didn't have any new content coming out to this day, it will have still had legs by fans. And I feel like the Miyagi first, as they call it, containing the 4 Karate Kid movies and the Cobra Kai, the 4 Karate Kid films and the Cobra Kai series, can have the same thing too that Star Wars had for about 10 years. That it was pretty much dead in terms of Star Wars movies. So I got faith. I got faith in the Miyagi first. Yeah. So I cannot wait for the series finale, because I cannot wait to binge watch. I still cannot wait to binge watch. But anyways, what do you beautiful people have to say? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. Talk to you fellow musicians later. Have a wonderful day.